All right, today we're diving into a topic that so many people are chasing, financial freedom. We're going to break down 22 specific habits that can help you finally get a handle on your money and, build a future that feels a lot more secure. Let's get into it.
So, have you ever looked at someone and just wondered how they do it? You know the ones I'm talking about. They just never seem to be stressed about money. And you know for a fact they don't have some crazy high paying job. They just seem to float through life, saving more, building more freedom. And it really makes you wonder, what is their secret?
Well, here's the thing. It's not some secret advantage, and it's definitely not about luck. The secret is actually something much quieter, much more subtle. Their entire financial world is built on a foundation of these small, deliberate choices, the kind of habits that, honestly, most of us just ignore because they seem too small to matter. But believe me, they add up in a huge way.
So, we're going to break down this playbook into 4 key parts. First, we have to get our heads right with the secret frugal mindset. Then, we'll turn that thinking into action by rewriting your daily habits. After that, we'll make it all automatic by building a saving system. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at how to play the long game for real, lasting success.
Okay, first step, the secret frugal mindset. This is so important because, look, none of the practical tips are going to stick if you don't get the psychology right first. It absolutely all starts with how you think about money.
And at the very core of this is what's called the live on less mindset. It's a really simple idea, but it's a huge shift in how you think. You stop looking at your paycheck as just a pile of money to burn through until the next one. Instead, you start seeing it as a resource, something to be stretched and maximized. It's all about figuring out what's truly essential and just cutting out all the extra noise.
And that main idea is really held up by a few other key shifts in your thinking. It's about learning to treat any extra cash, like a bonus or a raise, not as party money, but as a gift you're sending to your future self. It's also about having a really powerful why, a reason, like wanting less stress, that makes these choices feel like an act of power, not an act of restriction. And finally, it's about buying things for their actual value, not just because you're bored and scrolling on your phone.
So now that we've got the mindset down, let's move into part 2, rewriting your daily habits. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we turn all that thinking into small, real-world actions that actually start saving you money. I love how this slide frames it. It asks a really simple question. Are you a consumer or are you a caretaker? A consumer's first instinct when something breaks is to just replace it, right? But a caretaker's first thought is, can I fix this? That simple shift from always buying new to just maintaining what you already have, it saves a ridiculous amount of money over time, and it completely changes your relationship with your stuff. And just look at this, the power of one tiny habit. That daily coffee you grab on the way to work, or that soda from the vending machine, it feels so small, so insignificant. But it is a silent killer for your budget. I mean, just cutting out that one little purchase can easily save you over $1,000 a year. It's a perfect example of how tiny little leaks can sink a huge ship. And there are other super high-impact habits too. Just changing where you buy groceries could save you up to 50% on the exact same stuff. Cooking in big batches, that not only cuts down on food waste, but it keeps you from caving and ordering expensive takeout. Learning a few basic DIY skills means you're not calling a plumber for a simple fix. And joining a local buy nothing group, game changer. You can borrow things you only need once instead of buying them. Okay, on to our third section, building your saving system. This is critical because willpower, well, it's not very reliable, is it? The whole goal here is to make saving money the default, the automatic choice, so you don't even have to think about it. So here's the absolute key. You have to flip how you save. Most people get paid, they spend their money, and then they try to save whatever's left over at the end of the month. The SMART system does the exact opposite. The second you get paid, a set amount is automatically moved to your savings or investments. Then you just live off whatever's left. It literally protects your money from you.
Here is another genius system, the waiting rule. It's like the ultimate impulse killer. Before you buy anything that isn't an absolute necessity, you just write it down and you force yourself to wait. It could be 7 days, 30 days, whatever you decide. What you'll find almost every time is that most of those I need this right now feelings were just temporary wants that totally disappear after a week or two. It's like a pause button for your emotions.
And there are other great systems you can try too, like a no-spend challenge for a week or a month to just reset your brain, or tracking every single penny for just 1 month. I promise you it will be eye-opening to see where your money is actually going.
And finally, go on a hunt. Hunt down and destroy all those little hidden fees, bank fees, subscriptions you forgot about that are quietly draining your account. All right, let's talk about our fourth and final section, playing the long game. This is where we take all these little habits and we leverage them into big picture strategies that can build real, significant long-term freedom. This is such a fantastic distinction to make. See, real frugality isn't about just buying the cheapest thing you can find. That's the cheap mindset. The goal is to adopt a quality mindset where you learn to think in terms of cost per use. So you're not just asking, what's the price tag? You're asking, how much does this cost every time I use it? A high-quality jacket that lasts for 10 years is almost always going to be way cheaper in the long run than a flimsy one you have to replace every single winter. And this long-term thinking applies to the biggest expenses in your life, too. I mean, just prioritizing your health can help you avoid some of the most crippling costs imaginable down the line. Actively finding ways to reduce your housing expense, which for most of us is our number one bill, that can free up huge amounts of cash. And even small tweaks, like calling to negotiate your bills every year or paying your mortgage bi-weekly, can save you tens of thousands of dollars in interest over time with barely any effort. And really, this brings it all home. The point of all of this, of all these habits, it's not to live a life where you feel restricted and deprived. It's the total opposite. Every single dollar you save, every smart choice you make, that's another brick you're laying in the foundation of your own freedom. The freedom to choose your work, to choose how you spend your time, to choose your life.
So I'll leave you with this question. You don't have to do all 22 of these things tomorrow. Just pick 3. Pick 3 that really stood out to you, and just try them. Really commit to them for 1 year. And then ask yourself, where would you be? Where could you be 1 year from now?